This is Christina Pulver at Forza One Volleyball, and I'm sitting with assistant coach Matt Soderstrom at Emerson College, a beautiful D3 in Boston, Massachusetts. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Christina.
Good. Yeah, no, this is awesome. Definitely trying to help explain more about D3s in general and really, highlight Emerson. It's such a gorgeous part of the country for our players that here in California to get to know. And on your roster, I noticed you already have 3 Southern California kids. You got a SG Elite, a T Street, and you also have a Forza One West Charlotte from our Pasadena location. So definitely getting some California kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up at Boston briefly, and then we can go into really just talking more about Emerson as a cool, very awesome college.
All right. It's a long story, but I'll try to condense it here. I'm a former club volleyball player in college, and I also played a year of Division I volleyball at the University of New Haven. So I have a perspective on both club sports and Division I athletics and the broad range of athletics that are offered in college, and started coaching as a volunteer at St. John's University, where we won a 2008 Big East championship. And then I went to get my first coaching job at Western Connecticut State University, and then progressed to Northeastern University in Boston. And then I had an assistant job at Syracuse University for a few years after that. And then I was an assistant director for a short period of time at TAV Houston. And then I made my way back up to Northeastern University in Boston. I just couldn't get away from Boston.
Right.
So I was excited to get back here. And now I'm at Emerson College, helping out with the men's and women's programs.
Awesome. And I definitely want to talk a little bit about the men's program as well. We've got quite a few recruits that players at Forza, definitely a growing program for us. So, I guess just for starters, Emerson University, tell us a little bit about where it's located in Boston and about this school in general.
Absolutely. So Emerson College is probably located in the best part of Boston. We're right on Boston Common, which is the oldest public park in the nation. And right next to Boston Common is Quincy Market, where a lot of the tourists like to do their shopping and restaurant eating. We also have Newberry Street attached to Boston Common. So we are in the center of Boston. It's about a school of 4,000 students, but you're in a school of 250,000 college students. So it makes for a really unique opportunity to go out and meet other people from all across the nation and world. But at the same time, we have a small central campus that kind of has that comforting feeling too of a place to go home in the middle of a big city. So it's a great place to be and a place I love recruiting to right now.
Awesome. So where are you in comparison to like Boston College and Harvard?
So Harvard is located in Cambridge, which is across the river. It's about 2 to 3 miles away from us.
Okay.
And Cambridge is considered part of Boston, but we don't consider it part of downtown Boston.
Gotcha.
And Boston College, they call it Boston College, but that's more out in the suburbs as well. We call it Chestnut Hill, and you can get to downtown Boston. It's about maybe a 40-minute T ride to get to downtown, but Emerson College is really, really in the heart of Boston.
Real Boston
I mean,
college.
it is real Boston.
Very cool. And so you're a D3 university, so high academics, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so tell us, what kind of a student does well then, student athlete does well at Emerson College?
The student athlete that does well at Emerson College is well balanced, takes their academics seriously, takes their volleyball seriously, and is looking for a good balance between the two. So, we're getting student athletes that are really high achievers in not only their academics, but their extracurriculars. We're a strong academic liberal arts school, really focused on journalism, communications, film, theater. So there's a lot of other extracurriculars that are involved with those majors and what they want to do in college. So we allow the student athletes to be able to go out into Boston and seek internship opportunities or projects while they're part of the volleyball program. And we like to say well-balanced athletes here at Emerson College.
Mm-hmm. One of the, I think the concerns that people have is because it's a D3, the level is going to maybe be, lower. And so, all our Southern California athletes, they want to play at the highest level. So, talk to us about that misconception.
So, as a player myself, I had an opportunity in my undergrad to play men's collegiate club volleyball at the University of Connecticut. And then I spent a year playing Division I men's volleyball as well at the University of New Haven. And comparing the two experiences I had, the club volleyball was probably more competitive than the Division I volleyball, believe it or not. And people are like, well, that's got to be a lie. And I'm like, no, it's not, because, well, for the men, for instance, there's not a lot of places to go when it comes to Division I volleyball. So they got to go somewhere. And believe it or not, little did I know at the time, the volleyball is extremely competitive at the club level for the men. And at one point, we went to 5 games with the Division III national champion Springfield College as a club program. And that year, they had beaten some prestigious programs that are, playing for national titles every year. So it kind of goes to show, like, we can hang with those guys at the club level. And in Division III women's volleyball, I mean, I've been recruiting at the Division I level for a long period of time. And a lot of these athletes are interested in both levels for the athletics and the academic
Right.
experience. The
Right.
Division III national champions at John Hopkins, they had an outside hitter that was touching 10-4 this past year. So you can't say that, it's not as competitive athletically at the Division III level, but we have student athletes that are more focused on their academics as well.
Okay. And you're also, so you're helping out with the men's and the women's program, you said.
Yep.
Do the programs run pretty similar when they're in season? Or maybe we should talk about one then the other, or right? Because they operate fairly differently, I'm assuming.
Uh, Similar and different at the same time.
Okay.
When we're in the fall season, the guys are at it for a couple weeks with a couple practices a week, and we're very limited. And the girls are in season. So as a coach, being my first year at Emerson, I haven't gone through that full cycle yet. But our head coach, Coach Reed, he has 2 practices a day at some point with the men's and women's programs, and balancing those out can be quite challenging at times for him. So we're lucky they're a little balanced with their schedules.
Do they share the same facility and weight training rooms?
They do. They share the same facilities, the same training rooms, and they're pretty buddy buddy with each other here.
That's fun. So tell us a little bit more about the athletic department as a whole at Emerson.
As a whole, I think it kind of goes into our values of the balanced athletes that we're looking for as a department. We're looking for people that aren't just coming here for the athletics experience, and they want to play collegiate athletics. Everybody wants to be a college athlete, but I say the one thing that as a department we look for, and I think we do it well, is those students that are going to be retained here at Emerson College when we recruit them. So we're recruiting them for the school, the right fit, rather than the volleyball coming first.
Yeah.
We know they'll be more successful because of that.
Do a large percentage of players stay playing volleyball for all 4 years?
I'd say a large percentage. Can't say every person, because every person has their own path and their own interests, and sometimes volleyball fades out of people's lives, and that does happen.
Mhm.
But I'd say more than less stick with volleyball,
Okay.
and they go through their careers at Emerson College and have a great degree in the end.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then the focus, I think, at the D3 being able to take the balanced life with internships and, like you said, preparing for the next steps after college. How do internships, travel abroad? How does that interweave with the college athlete?
Absolutely, it can be challenging at times, because as a coach, you always want your players in the gym, but you know that there is more to life than just volleyball. So it's kind of funny. We have a campus in Southern California, right off of Hollywood Boulevard,
Oh, no kidding.
that is, I mean, full of internship experiences that very attractive to players in the Southern California area. So not only do you have a home in Boston, but you can spend a semester gaining internship experience back in home. And it's pretty cool to be able to, spend a spring semester networking, getting experience back somewhere you might want to, go back to after college. And then additionally, we allow the athletes to be able to have that semester abroad. We have a campus in, I believe it's Prague or the Netherlands, one of those two places. But we have a campus over there that they can go off to for a semester and gain some study abroad experience, which should be part of the whole college experience that you're supposed to get. And you can't get that everywhere as an athlete, especially at the Division I level, because you need to train for the spring semester. So the only opportunities that I've seen students take with study abroad is over the summer, not necessarily during the spring semester at the Division I level.
What, in terms of the spring semester compared to a Division I level, how many hours less is it per week with D3?
So we're allowed, at the Division I level, we're allowed 20 hours a week for, it's a certain number of days that are calculated, and boy,
That's okay. It
it's
changes
based
so often. But
it's
20
certain,
hours per week.
I don't think any Division I coach knows it off the top of their head, because it's a certain amount of days that you don't use during the fall semester, and then you apply it to the spring semester. But typically it's somewhere towards the end of February, beginning of March, until the end of the spring semester for Division I athletes. For Division III athletes, we're only allowed, I believe it's, don't quote me on this, it's much more condensed though. I think it's over a period of 6 weeks, and you're allowed 4 hours a week of practice for 6 weeks. So it's significantly less.
So allowing for a lot more of what you're talking about, maybe the tougher
Absolutely.
classes, these internships and travel abroad, exactly. So then the other question I think that comes up a lot is in terms of the way the athletic monies work. You don't give athletic money, but there's merit and financial aid, correct? Maybe if you want to extrapolate on that a little bit more.
So there's a lot of opportunity for money at the Division III level, a lot more than people realize, because it's not athletic money. But if you have the grades and you have the extracurriculars, you can get just as much money as some of these athletes that are walking on, or maybe getting a year's worth of scholarship. We call it 1 for 4 at the Division I level, and you could be just getting just as much if you were applying to a Division III school and getting that merit money. So you really need to do your homework, and you can get as much, if not more. And then, hey, maybe you end up being a starter for a team that's deep into the NCAA tournament at Division III level, or you end up being maybe a backup player at the Division I level. It's kind of pick and choose your own experience, and you have to do your homework when it comes to that.
So when you say do your homework, how does someone go about doing their homework? I mean, I know we can look up, full tuition costs online, but, let's just take, if I'm a 3.5 kid that does a lot of extracurricular, and I do decent on my ACT or SAT, what kind of monies in general would they get? Or how would you go about doing your homework to get a ballpark?
Yeah, absolutely. Doing your homework, I gotta think through the process, because doing your homework here involves just as much homework as if you were just applying to schools, uh, if you weren't an athlete. So I say that you need to pick your reach schools, you need to pick your schools that are in your zone, and then your safety schools.
Sure.
And then at the same time, you need to pick Division I and Division III schools, or Division II schools, the whole spectrum in each of those areas, and see if you're a good fit for them athletically and academically. And you need to come up with a whole list. And I'm sure Christina, of like what to look for. You need to look for the academics, you need to look for the athletics, and you need to speak with the coaches to see if you're fit.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. But I think I was talking about like how would someone, if they were interested, find out how much money they were going to have to pay to go to Emerson. Sorry if I wasn't.
Oh, yes, yes. So we do early reads when it comes to merit. So typically after your junior year, we can get a better idea of how much money you're going to be able to receive.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. No, that's okay.
Um, Usually after first semester of your junior year, we do a read, and that's based off of your GPA, the classes that you're taking. So if you have AP, weighted courses, your extracurriculars, we can, there are some scholarships at schools that we can have you apply for if we know you have certain extracurriculars that you're, pursuing. But usually those reads don't occur until after first semester junior year.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, so that's good. No, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and I think that the large dollar amounts of merit aid that the different schools give out, and yours in particular, is very high, and so it makes it more affordable, way more affordable than they think. So maybe they're ending up paying a state's tuition, for example,
Mhm.
after the merit aid. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more too about life as an athlete there. Um, when they're not playing volleyball and studying, socially, what's it like? Is there a Greek system? Are they just hanging out in all the cool Boston common areas? Are they living together? So paint us a picture of the social life.
Yeah, in terms of the social life out there, there's a lot of different places to go in Boston. It's a college student playground. And for the most part, there isn't a Greek system here. And that's usually bigger in, I'd say, larger universities with Greek systems, and not even in the Northeast typically. Say the Greek system is bigger towards the southern states, the Midwest and West, but not so much in the Northeast. Fraternities aren't as big here. Um, the student athletes first year, they do live together in the freshman dorms here, which is right on the Boston Common. So you have a view of the state capitol, you have the view of downtown, the financial center, of the whole common. So it's probably a better view than where I live right now.
Right.
And it's very nice because of that. So the common area is a great place to start off your freshman year at Emerson. And being in the downtown location we are, there's thousands of cafes that are out there and restaurants and um, just common space on the public on the public common that students hang out in.
Cool. So in terms of your team culture and maybe the way the coaching philosophy with Reed and you and the whole staff, has on the team, how would you describe it?
It's a very, I think it's cliche. Every coach says it's a family atmosphere here, but I'd say it is a family atmosphere because, when the girls are um, doing Zoom calls, I mean, they want to meet the future recruits and they do it all together as a team. And I think because of that, it kind of shows that, like, they want to know the people that they're going to be hanging out with in the
Yeah.
future, and they want to have that common bond. And the great thing is, like, the girls are coming from all across the country, and they share that commonality to begin with. It's kind of unique for a Division III school, and yeah, all I can say, it's like a family atmosphere here.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And your coach, so why do people like to play for the head coach?
I'd say the same as any coach. It's like, why do players want to play for a coach? Is it because they train well? Is it because they're a nice person? Or is it because, um, well, it could be for any reason. I think it's every reason for why I like Coach Reed here. Coach Reed is a sincerely good person. I've known him for years, and he's always treated me with respect. And the guy knows volleyball. So I think if you have good people and good volleyball training, kind of makes for a good atmosphere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He definitely carries a strong reputation, and you guys have had a lot of success. Let's talk about your conference a little bit. How much travel is involved? Is it all by bus?
So we typically try to do a flight every year or two, and either fly out to California or down to Florida, somewhere where the volleyball is competitive and the teams are going deep into the NCAA tournament to kind of give us that taste early on in the season during the non-conference.
Mhm.
But for the most part, during our conference schedule, we're busing. So compared to Division I, you're flying maybe completely for the non-conference portion of the season. For us, I'd say maybe one trip a year we might do a flight, and the rest is by bus.
Okay. Okay. Which is nice because players can do homework on the bus. You're not having to fight the traffic at the airports, and So no, that's definitely a nice perk. So we've covered a nice amount of ground for sure about Emerson College. Is there anything like that stands out, or what kind of makes Emerson stand out among the other D3s, or, some of the other competitors that you have?
Yeah, I think because one, our location in Boston, I mean, that makes for a unique experience compared to anywhere else in the country. I mean, people say they're a city school and maybe they're out in the burbs, but being in the center of downtown Boston and Boston is the college city of America, it's awesome to just have everything centered around you. So you already feel like you're the center of attention when you come to Emerson. And I mean, additionally, our academic programs, I mean, we're considered a top 10 film school in the entire nation. And that goes for all of Division One, two, and three athletics, all schools in the country. We're a top communication school. We're top 10, and we're considerably the number one in the country for journalism. So we're up there with Northwestern and Syracuse in terms of our journalism program. So the academics are, on a different par compared to everybody else. And then additionally, we're looking for strong volleyball athletes here that can play at a high level, and you wouldn't expect that at Division III level. And that's what's been such a cool experience for me so far, coaching with USA and for some other Division I teams, to know that it's just as competitive here. And that's something I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What is real quick, the minimum kind of the GPA and the testing scores that is required to be able to get accepted by the university?
And I don't think there's any typical minimum. The
Okay.
things that we shoot for, when we ask players, do you have something around here? I'd say we look somewhere between, a 3.6 at probably the minimum for a GPA. But, you want to shoot for higher. Obviously, I think our average is around like a 3.7 or a 3.8. And
Okay.
then players are in the high 1200s, low 1300s for the SAT.
Okay.
Not sure what that, I'm trying to think the ACT comparison
Yeah.
might be somewhere in like the mid to high 20s.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. So no, it really sounds like for that balanced academic student athlete, high level volleyball player, it sounds like a really fun place. I was actually in Boston 2 4th of Julys ago and got to see the big concert with Demi Lovato and
Yeah.
the Jonas Brothers, and it was cool right there right by the bridge. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
So we were supposed to have the Red Hot Chili Peppers here this year
Oh,
in downtown in Cambridge. Yeah, that would have been a really cool. Maybe next year we'll get them. But I was so looking forward to I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
yeah. Oh man, they're the best. Yeah. No, I was at Boston. We have a player graduating this year, Katrina Jensen, who's going to Boston College. We have Sylvia Lanicelli, who's out there, and then shoot, I'm missing. There's another. Oh, yeah, that was just another good friend of mine's at Boston Conservatory. But just an amazing, amazing area. If everyone hasn't traveled to Boston, they need to come out and take a visit. Are you are you planning to come out in the fall at all? Potentially to or do you in a typical season, what tournaments would you be recruiting at?
We always go to the Southern California qualifier.
Okay, cool.
That's always typical for us, just
Okay,
because I think we have such a draw to the California area.
yeah,
And we have an Emerson campus there, so we kind of want players from there.
yeah.
And I'd say that one, we're always going to the Northeast qualifier typically, but I'd say we go to the California qualifier more than, the Northeast qualifier, to tell you the truth.
Cool. Awesome. Well, this has been very informative. Very exciting. And I'll encourage players to get on and do the virtual tours and check out pictures. It's gorgeous. And look forward to maybe getting some players in your hands so we can talk more about that after the call.
Yeah, gives us more reason to come back there.
Yay. It was great talking with you today. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Christina.